welcome back to 2DG. We got something we haven't done in a little while.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not a trash talk either. What is it?
Today we have a Let's Talk.
A Let's Talk series.
We don't have that cool little intro.
We will.
Okay.
I don't know what.
So this one's kind of a build off of some of the other conversations we've had, but also a...
I think I'm still peeling or something. No, I couldn't be there.
Couldn't be there. So,
I'm just fat.
It's going to be built off of some of the other stuff that we've talked about, but also kind of a talk about the community. Beer drinker, reviewer, people, for lack of a better.
Going to be all over the place today.
Well,
we're covering the news of today.
My God. So, first off, I want to talk about the recent acquisitions that happened here. So, we talked a little bit about Wicked Weed, which I did not know, and you told me that the support for Wicked Weed in the community there was already gone, basically.
That was a comment I read elsewhere. Yeah.
The big acquisitions, though, Lagunitas, whatever the hell, doesn't matter. They were owned. Yeah, they were owned 50% by Heineken already. The owner, partial owner at that point, founder of Lagunitas, then over this past, I think, 3 weeks or so, just sold the last 50% of his company. So they are now 100% owned by Heineken, which sucks a lot because I was hoping that once they got the distribution that they wanted, which, whatever, they already had massive distribution, and 2 breweries in the country, so they could hit every state if they wanted to, probably, that they would maybe be able to get rid of Heineken eventually. So my support for them hadn't completely gone away, but now they're done. They've sold. They're done. Thanks, Heineken. The other bigger news was around, and we just found this out, the brewery. I'll let you go ahead and do that.
Well, just the brewery has partnered with basically, it sounds like
an investment firm, basically.
Yeah, an investment group. And but the good news with the brewery is that it doesn't appear that they've sold out. They've just partnered, and they're, I mean, granted, these people are investing in the company for a return. It's the way it works.
And we had covered this a long time ago. I think it was over a year. Dogfish did a similar thing. Which, whatever. To me, if you're taking money and they own a small percent of your company, as long as you end up paying that back and kicking them out, I will still support you. Completely fine.
So the brewery, we still have hope for that it won't spiral out and do a Lagunitas.
Yeah.
Or a, God, you name them anymore.
Yeah.
It's really getting
Wicked
sad
Weed,
how many
Goose
people.
Island.
Well, Wicked Weed didn't even do a partner. They just flat out just said, sold.
Yeah.
Now, so anyway, back to Wicked Weed though. If you've been to the Asheville community, they are big in the local. So, and I know a lot of big breweries have built down in that general area, which I wasn't sure why, because they are so local driven. I mean, we went to several restaurants and it was local this, local that, farm raised up on the hill, pigs, and all that stuff. And it was great. I really enjoyed that community. Asheville, you got it going on. But Wicked Weed, yeah, I was surprised because Wicked Weed, we only went to the Funkatorium. We didn't go to the brewery.
Which, to me, according to you, it seemed like that was what most people had done anyway.
Which is interesting, yes, because with the announcement of their sale, there was a comment from a local from Asheville, and he said that the locals had given up on, they weren't even frequenting. He said in the off-season, tourist off-season, that the place was basically a ghost town most of the time, and he said, and most people did go just to the Funkatorium, and nobody had been going to the brewery itself for years. And he said, while they didn't have a lot of support locally anymore, they're done with them now. They said it just won't work in the community because they're not local anymore. They're big corporate. So I found that to be rather interesting. There are a couple other breweries in Asheville and the Asheville greater area that are really good. So, Highwire, we were pleased with some of the Highwire we had, and then some of the other towns, bigger towns, there are some stellar GABF winners. I think those are just going to grow and hopefully not do the same thing. I'm sad to see Wicked Weed go. I am.
I don't care.
I love sours. I like, programs that are really good. One happy thing that I did see out of it, and I mean, call me bitter if you want, but Scott Michael, who commented on one of our previous videos from Houston area, he was going to bring up some
Jester King.
Jester King, and Jester King had recently, they'd been working with Wicked Weed in partnership on a few projects, and they axed it immediately upon that news. And you know what? More power to you, Jester King. I support that. I like the idea of the craft beer movement, and I don't like seeing AB InBev just buying everybody up, or Coors, or Miller, or Heineken, or any of them.
Well, here's the thing. So first, I want to point out I read, well, it wasn't an article per se, but I was on Bell's Brewery's Facebook page. They popped up, whatever. So I got on there. The CEO of the company now is the founder's daughter. I don't know her name. But they basically
know that.
Yeah, they basically asked her, "What's your number? What's your sellout number?" Basically, what would be that number that would get you to be like, okay? And for Bell's, they're pretty big, so it'd be a pretty big number. She said there isn't a number. There's not even a conversation.
Good.
So I like that. Bell's, I think part of their logo is fiercely independent, or it will be now.
And I know they just did some campaign where they went back to the founder's college or whatever, where he went to college and kind of, the ideas were born and nurtured.
Which, by the way, we went there. Do you remember what he said the first beer ever brewed by Bell's was?
No.
I do.
It's something they still brew to this day.
True. Take a guess.
I don't know.
Let's make it random. Come on.
I don't know.
Let's play. Play it.
I don't know.
Well, you suck.
I do.
The answer is Oberon.
Was it really?
Yeah. It was.
I did not know
The name was different.
I thought it was
Which, if
something
you don't
else.
know the story behind that, there was like a little bit of a legal battle with the original name. I don't remember what that was, but anyway. Oberon was the first beer, though. I thought it was the porter, because generally older or old school breweries start out with that. Anyway.
That's kind of what I thought it would be, more traditional.
It'd been cool if you guessed. Anyway, so that part was cool. My main beef is, and say what you will about Sam Adams, Sierra Nevada, New Belgium, kind of like the big three, or Yingling, which, say what you will, they're still independent. The people that got big were generally, and even Stone to an extent, were the people that started early, right? So they started their movement earlier than when it exploded, by some
A lot of them
20
in that
years
20
plus.
to 25 year range now.
So they stayed independent while still maintaining to get around the entire country. Now, if that was by building more than one location, or just making their single location massive. So I think the cutoff at that point was Lagunitas. I think Lagunitas came in at the time where it still wasn't tremendously popular, and they did one thing really well, which is make hoppy beers. And that's basically, for the most part, all they really do make, except for some seasonals and bigger bottles. So I think that was kind of the tipping point. So breweries now that are good, that want to expand and get across the country, generally, I've noticed, have sold out in some way, shape, or form. Founders, which is still fairly local for the most part, but they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, sold 30% of their business, I believe, to a Spanish company that
does sound right.
Yeah, that does other kind of things like that. Dogfish Head, for example, got big, and then they pulled back because they expanded too quickly, and then now started to expand again, and this has been a couple years now, but
I think Stone's seen a little bit of that too with the too big expansion. They're starting to feel a little pinch.
Stone will die before they
I hope so.
take money.
I mean,
at
who
least as long
wishes
as Greg
that
is-
on
right.
Stone? But I would rather see Stone fade away due to overestimation.
As long as Greg is alive, he would rather die. At least from everything that I've seen. Now, that's the thing. So that's why a lot of people are about local stuff, and that's where your hipster kind of scene comes in, right? So people that only buy local, only want to support local, and that to me is where it's going, right? So you have the big guys, your Sierra Nevada, New Belgium, Sam Adams, Yingling to an extent, but you used to have, Dogfish Head still, but you used to have Lagunitas, you used to have Goose Island in that list, and those are the big dogs, right? So that's who the smaller guys wanted to be. And then they just couldn't either do it anymore, or they wanted to get bigger and didn't have the money now. So they ended up selling what they could to get more money to grow, or they just said screw it. Didn't care anymore, which I think was more what Wicked Weed was about.
And and one of the articles or the comments I read from a guy locally there, was that Wicked Weed was founded with a third partner as an investor who was a billionaire already. So, I'm sorry, that's the way business works, is to make money. And that guy, as an investor, not an acting partner, he was looking for a return. And I mean, what bigger return can you get to partner with the biggest beer company in the world? I mean, for him, that's a huge, check mark. Boom, look what I did.
And that's, so a lot of times you won't be able to tell if you're just like into beer to drink it, but don't care about, what we do, or,
where it comes from.
Yeah,
who's really
that
behind
stuff.
it.
Then you're not really going to know. But if you don't want to buy from bigger companies, there's ways they trick you, a la Shock Top, Blue Moon, things like
Elysian.
that. Yeah, well, that's my point. So if you're in, your craft beer section in the liquor store, or hell, even a grocery store, and you see the same stuff every day until you don't. You'll see something from a company that is independent that you've never seen before. So you look where they're from. They're from California. You're in, for our instance, Northeast Indiana.
You
like,
immediately,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Or a brewery from Hawaii is
You
here.
immediately whip the phone out and start going. Now, this is not to say that these breweries don't make fine beers, because the one in Hawaii, that big one, that
Kona.
they've won some GABFs on their stuff still. And I mean, they're making fine beers. Goose Island's making fine beers. But
I don't care.
it's principle at times. Sometimes
so
you have to stand on your principle and go,
I'd say probably 8 or 9 times out of 10, if you're seeing a new brewery that's got a bigger name that's from somewhere that's way too far away, probably sold out. That's how they're there. They're getting on Budweiser trucks, Miller trucks, Coors trucks, that kind of thing. Which sucks. Like you said, some of them do make good stuff. Goose Island, for instance, they make great stouts. Bourbon County. Kona made.
they've got a stout or two that's
but
award-winning.
I prefer their Castaway IPA, which was one of my favorites when I first got into it. Now, one of the things that made me angry, there's a brewery in LA, I think it's called like Golden Road or Golden Trail or something like that. They were actually on Brew Dogs, which is the TV show that we've mentioned a couple of different times. And that's who they featured, so that was the biggest brewery, the biggest name in LA, and they were there. And then a year or two later they sold, so that pissed me off. It's,
One of the other things that bothers me too are contract breweries. You see a beer and you're like, hey, what's this? And you find out they're just brewing it on contract for this other company.
Yeah,
sometimes that's okay. I understand, for capacity's sake, or to try something new.
A lot of those, kind of like the old Rolling Rock plant in Latrobe is a contract brewery now. La Crosse, Wisconsin has a contract brewery.
I saw that one in person.
Yeah, you saw that.
In fact, we brought something back, and I don't think we ever drank it.
Now, how this ties into the community, right? So, we've done videos. We're nowhere near important in the grand scheme of things. A guy that... Okay, so how I first started into everything was watching Better Beer Authority. And I think you were somewhat the same. They had James Knott, and then...
That was the host. Panel of guys.
Yeah, and then his
really
local guys.
That concept.
And I think they were out of Ohio, I believe.
Yes, they were.
But that's how I first started into it. After that, the big one, and I'm sure everybody that watches us has watched it too, is Beer Geek Nation. He still is. He got like 40,000 subs or something around there.
All.
That's all?
I thought he had much more than that.
Name another beer channel that has over 5,000. You can't. That's the thing. He's massive compared to what everybody else is.
I thought he was in the 100,000 range.
No.
No kidding.
No. But, he was kind of, if you put it together, our flagship guy, right? So he's sponsored.
Again, it was a timing thing. He started at the right time. He was it.
He's sponsored and all that stuff. I liked him. I don't really care for him particularly now. I still watch his stuff pretty regularly, but that brings me to my point. So Darwin, we've talked about Darwin's beer reviews a couple of different times. He's big into the New England stuff. I think he's based out of New York. We've referenced him a couple times. Now, he works for some company, works for, I base loosely. He said in his video he's about 4, maybe 8 hours a week, tops. So less than part-time. For this company that is owned by BeInDepth. That's probably so low on the list of who gives a damn. But he did a video about the acquisition of Heineken Lagunitas and Wicked Weed, I think. And he basically took more of a politically correct stance than I particularly like, but that's his choice. And basically said that everybody has a number and you got to think of it more as the human aspect, which I agree with.
But some people do it on principle and not
Yeah,
money.
exactly. which is kind of what this movement was founded on anyway. Different stuff that tastes good versus same crap, but you're making money.
Not to mention local, supporting local farmers, local, everything. Yeah. So,
but anyway, that's basically what he said. He's like, I see it as more of a human aspect. Somebody waves $10 million in your face. Are you going to say no? Probably not, right? It's a lot of money.
Hey, if I'm doing what I love, though, there's a price. I'm sorry, you start getting my age and you start to realize that, money doesn't undercut everything. Money doesn't undercut being happy in what you're doing.
You're Lagunitas. Heineken gives you $5 billion. What are you going to do? Not saying that's how much.
They can't give me. I have to accept it.
Great. You can spend it however you want.
But why? If I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Have you ever seen a check for $5 billion?
No, but I've never seen one for $5 billion being me.
Exactly. My point is you don't know.
I probably never will.
You can say that, and I say the same thing, but you don't know.
I was brought up with morals. And if I feel that something is deep inside of me, I'm not going to sell it just because it's given, somebody's flashing money.
You've never seen that much money.
No, but I'm just telling you. Okay, how much is too much? I mean, if you're... Okay,
I don't know. I've never had too much.
Let's say you own Lagunitas.
Okay.
Before this partnership/buyout. But let's say you own that. Okay, I know some people are driven to get just as big as you can. I want to be the GM of beer, Well, sorry, you're not. You're going to be the, Chrysler who got bought up by GM of beer, So, some people look at legacy. Some people look at a lot of stuff. But if you're happy with producing a superior product and getting it to as many people as you can with your resources that are available, why stop?
Think of it like this. Say you're a smaller brewery, the brewery, for instance. You have employees to pay. Sure. You have tanks to buy because you're ever expanding.
But
listen.
Okay.
You have expansion that you want to do, so you need trucks. You need ways to get beer on trucks to get to other states, which is more employees, which is, healthcare, benefits, all that stuff. On top of that, you have to pay yourself. You have to pay, I'm assuming you have a board at that point, investors, right, all that stuff. So that's a lot of money that you have to do without taking from your profits. A lot of times brewers can't do that.
But that's just the thing. It's what do you consider an acceptable profit?
Us being us, right? I'm not a millionaire. I know, it's a shock. So that being said, yes, I can sit here and say that me personally, if I owned something, odds are I probably wouldn't sell. But I'm also not in that position right now. So that's what Darwin was saying. He wouldn't do it, and he supports local, same as us. But at the same time, nobody's waving a fat-ass check in my face. I can't say 100% that I wouldn't chase the money.
But I can't say that Three Floyds hasn't had a check waved in front of theirs. And what
they do? And there's people,
they don't even borrow from the bank if they don't have to.
There are people that won't do that. But
the day that he gets old enough and wants to retire, what happens to that company scares me to death. If they sell out to a big conglomerate, I'll probably be done with them.
I understand that. But my point being, we don't know. And that was his point, right? It's a human aspect.
People start these companies for various reasons.
Right.
It's not always because of the local. Some of it is purely investment and speculation.
A Kid Rock, for Christ's sake, started a brewery. He did.
I bet that's good stuff.
Well, it failed, so it doesn't matter. That being said, Beer Geek Nation, Lonely at the Top, we've mentioned that before, commented on his video. Said, well, you work for this company owned by BeInDepth, so, and then he did the ... which is stupid, by the way. Don't ever do the ... It's retarded. Just finish your statement, please. It's dumb.
He was trying to incite something.
You're seeking attention, too. If you want to do that, just say something that's so outrageous. Don't leave it to the imagination. You're a coward. Anyway, so in that thread then, because Darwin did a video about it, and I didn't know about it previously, so I went through the previous video and looked at the comments. Well, I didn't want to do that.
Drop back to our channel.
Which, Beer Geek Nation, if you're watching, I'll get to you in a second. Anyway, he said that. Now, there was a bunch of, guys I've never heard of, and it could just be guys that are just commenting, saying, basically calling him a dick, or why are you doing this, or this looks bad on you, especially when you were saying that you don't understand why smaller channels don't reach out to you, and then you're going to go ahead and reach out to somebody that's pretty well known and pretty well respected for the most part.
Plus, he's sponsored.
Well, I don't think they care about that. He
But
didn't
it's
say...
the same difference.
No, because he didn't say anything that was detrimental to his sponsorship.
No, what I'm saying is he's taking money from people too.
Oh, that doesn't matter.
Money
That's for his channel. It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter.
Does he own a brewery?
That has to
partially
do with
owns it.
objectivity, though.
Don't twist this. It doesn't matter.
It absolutely does.
It doesn't because it's not related to what we're talking about.
Comment down there.
He doesn't. He partially owns a brewery, like 5%. Doesn't matter. Point is, not related. It's because you don't watch.
I do.
So, he ended up responding to some of those comments. Basically, Darwin was like, what of it? You know, why are you questioning me? Why are you questioning my integrity?
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
Exactly. So Chris Steltz, the guy that Beer Geek Nation, commented and was like, I'm not trying to say anything necessarily or any of this stuff. And he started responding to some people that started trolling him or insulting him, basically saying, yeah, it's just, so lonely up here at the top. Which he actually said that. That's a real quote if you go back and watch the video. We aren't just making fun of him for the hell of it. He actually did say that. He's kind of pompous. Which we are too, but we're insignificant, so it doesn't matter. So he said that, and then one of the comments towards the end, this was 3 or 4 in a row that he had said, and just being a dick, just as it went. One of the guys was like, "Man, this doesn't look good. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're drunk." And I would be honest, I think he was, because, if you've watched, he's burned out on doing his own channels. I don't know what he really does for his profession. I think he's in the medical field. I don't know what.
Well, let's be realistic too. YouTube's taking a crap as far as paying people. Not that
Sure.
we have made a dime off of them, but a lot of people are doing whatever they can to get traction for their channel again.
Correct. Yeah. Now, I get that you're burned out. Fine. We've been burned out, and we don't do even a tenth of the viewership that you do.
Or videos.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I can understand, and to be honest, I think more people don't care about your opinion and things anymore because you don't do what other people do, right? So you don't go after the huge beers that everybody wants you to review because you said you're not going to chase beers anymore, which is fine because you've had people like Greg even send you just a shitload of stuff.
If you've never seen Greg's beer reviews, you're hearing it here. Go check him out. He gets everything. It's amazing.
Yeah. Whatever. Not to say his content's that great, but he gets a lot
I
of
like
beer.
him. He's just an average Joe.
Yeah. Whatever.
Trademark.
So I feel, God, I feel like he's just getting fed up. He's getting burned out. He wants to still do it, but doesn't at the same time. So yes, when he was commenting on that, I do feel he was intoxicated. Could be wrong. This is just subjective. But at the end of the day, number one, it was unnecessary. Darwin gave a different opinion, which is fine. If you disagree with it like I do, you can. Great. I'm not going to go to his channel, though, and personally attack the guy because he works for a company that is owned by somebody big. I work for a huge company. Who cares?
I don't.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do. But I don't.
But you don't. It's just the fact that, and we've had a beef with Beer Geek Nation for a while now.
And it's nothing personal. I mean, well, maybe a little. But
Well,
I don't dislike the guy.
Well, no, because you don't know.
I just don't feel that he's all that objective at times.
Which, to be fair, everybody that's reviewed beer, from the biggest dude to the smallest one, copied his style to start, right? So you do, and we do it for the most part.
Darwin does it.
Yeah. How it looks, how it smells, how it tastes, your rating. Easy. We're a little bit more in depth than he is. His is about 3 minutes. How dare you? His are about 3 minutes long, give or take, and it's pretty quick. You can tell he's mailing it in sometimes, and a lot of times. Other people don't do that anymore. So they'll do basically the style or the script, but they give more in depth or more personable than he is.
He whips them out, and that's why people like him.
Yeah, and it's quick. Which is probably a knock on ours, is we talk a lot.
It's a knock on this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Did somebody say that over there?
No, but it's going on.
Get over it. It's a let's talk. Suck it up. Anyway.
It's not a let's talk forever.
What was that?
She said it's not a let's
I know
talk
what she
forever.
said. I know what she said.
I don't know if they heard it.
It's fine.
Hey, if you stuck around this far, we appreciate it. We do get a little hey, we're opinionated too, you know. So it's like, you know, we're picking on this Beer Geek Nation dude.
Not picking on him. He's the big dog. We're throwing stones. We're David. He's Goliath.
We are throwing stones, but you know, he's just exercising the same thing that we're doing. But he probably should have just made a video. But maybe he didn't think that was perfect. You know, he is in a unique position where he's top of the pile. So when he puts his opinion out, everybody knows it. And then if he goes and comments, maybe he can get away with it a little more. Maybe he should make an alternate account.
Well, here's the thing. As somebody that I'm going to assume doesn't watch our stuff. I'm going to assume he probably doesn't watch a lot that aren't the top 4 or 5 guys. I consider this a formal attack. Meaning that you are the face, good or not, for what we do. We're never going to be... I don't think there's anybody that's going to review beers ever again that's going to be as big as you are now, or were. I think that's fair. It's a niche thing. And especially since you have commented many a times now, you feel that the trend for people liking good beer is starting to go back down.
I do. The hipsters are moving on to something.
I don't feel that there's ever going to be that many people subscribe to another channel that just does what we do again. That being said, since you are the top guy still, quit being a dick. And you've done it a couple times now in the past couple months. And you can do what you want, that's fair, but realize that most people are going to criticize you and you're probably going to hate it because you are the face. That's just how it is. And fair or not, I don't like you anymore.
You might be lonely at the top, but you know, it is because you get everything.
No, you did.
Well, you did. You could. That's the other thing. But because you get everything, it doesn't mean you have to become less humble. For instance, you know, we talked about, what's his name? We just said it. Jeez.
Darwin.
No.
Okay.
The old guy with the beard. Greg. God, I love Greg too. But, you know, Greg gets a lot of great stuff sent to him. But he hasn't lost his humble, down-to-earth, you know, style. And Ronald the Riot. I really like watching him because he's a good, in my opinion, he's a good average Southern guy, you know, who just kicks back, does a review, and tells it. This is what I kind of pattern on, is just telling you what we think, not what, you know, everyone else thinks. That's like when we did Treehouse, we said it actually lived up to the hype. It wasn't, you know, we weren't going to say it's great because it's hyped. We were evaluating, does it actually live up to the hype, you know? So, you know, when you're at the top of the heap, don't start casting stones just because you're lonely or bored, you know. I mean, you can reach out to people too. You don't have to wait for them to reach out to you.
Or take a break.
Yeah, take a break. What happens if you do? You can't be making that much that you're living off of YouTube. I know if you're only making, how many subscribers? I mean,
40-some thousand.
You're not making enough to live on, so it's not a career.
I don't want you to quit because you're how most people find things. You know, through your channel, your name. But, I mean, if you're going to do this kind of stuff, which you haven't really done before as far as I know, as far as comments, but if you're going to start doing that,
come on, just take a shot.
Yeah, sure. But, I don't know. That rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm not even a huge fan of Darwin. I enjoy some of the stuff that he does, but it's not my style, I guess. But, I don't know. That rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like that, so I figured we'd bring that up with our... kind of tie-in whole discussion.
I was really impressed with Darwin initially, and then when I was able to get some of the beers that he did, and you know, if it's good, it's good. But when he trashes one, and I've tasted it, and I don't believe it's anywhere near that, that's when I started to question his actual palate, and you know, hey, you're flying through this beer review too, but yeah, you're not the end-all be-all either. So,
and neither are we. But hey, that's our opinion. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. It's been a little bit. Such a baby. But anyway, I hear you back there. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think if you watch any of this stuff.
It's all controversial, so what's your opinion?
Yeah. It's great.
See ya.
Too easy.